Okay, so we're ready to begin the process of cutting from our slab and laying our slabs on our hump mold. A couple of things you're going to need. You need your mold. If you forgot what makes for a good mold, make sure you revisit that slide. You're going to want a release agent, so something that you can put between the clay and the mold so that it's not as sticky. I'm going to be using cornstarch that I paint on with a paintbrush. A fettling knife to cut your slabs. Make sure it's clean. If there's lumps of clay stuck to it, it's going to give you a gross cut. And you may want a tool, something other than your fingers, that are going to use to smooth the slabs together as you attach them. So I'm going to be using the upper part of this shampoo bottle as my mold. I have to be very careful because it has a little nub right here, so I need to make sure. I actually might take that part of the bottle off so that it's easy for me to slide the mold off when I'm ready, slide the clay off when I'm ready. So I'm going to go ahead and start cutting some slabs. I like to work with slabs that are between 3.5 and 4.5 inches wide. Too much bigger than that, and the clay kind of starts folding on me. I am also going to save enough clay for the base. So I'm going to make sure that I have a nice slab. Peel it off the paper towel. Make sure I have a nice slab that's going to fit the base of my piece. And then I'm just going to cut somewhere between 3.5 and 4-inch sections to use to cover my mold. You can clean off the tops now, or you can do that later. I'm going to go ahead and cut the tops and bottoms off. You may want kind of a not straight edge, and put my scraps of paper aside. So I'll take my slab and I'm going to paint whatever side is going to be touching the mold. I'm going to paint it with a little bit of cornstarch. And again, this is just to help so that it's not quite as sticky and it's a little easier for you to release. And if I lay this on the mold where I want to be molding, clearly that doesn't cover the whole thing. So I'm going to take another slab and I'm going to put it just barely on top. Now, what you don't want to do is just seal these together, because what will happen is this wall is going to be 1/4 inch and this wall will be 1/4 inch, but where those two pieces meet is going to be much thicker. So I'm going to take my knife and somewhere where those two, my fettling knife, somewhere where those two pieces meet, I'm going to cut down the center. So what I'm given is now this, and I'm going to remove this piece. And I'm going to remove, oops, I didn't get a very clean cut there. And I'm going to remove this piece so that I get a nice join. And now I can use my hands, or I like this tool in a tiny bit of water. You can use that to kind of seal these together. You don't need to score and slip because this clay is at the same stage. They're both in very plastic forms. So I'm going to seal up my seam here. And then I'm going to do the same thing to fill in this gap. And I can do a lot of smoothing later, but can't hurt to take care of some of it now. Okay, same thing on this side, where I take my slab, paint it with cornstarch, the side that's going to be touching the plastic, and I'm going to lay it on top like this. And I'll cut with a clean fettling knife where they overlap. My fettling knife is not that clean. So my mold is covered. I can choose if I want to right now address the ends, or if I want to do that when it's in more, I might wait for it to be a little more in a leather hard stage. But you could at this point take your tool and kind of clean up some of the areas. But this is sealed. The cornstarch, if you've got pieces or little bits of cornstarch on it, it's not a big deal. It's going to completely just become part of the clay. And I'm going to take a minute to just take my hand and kind of smooth out some of the edges here. But I'm ready now to set this aside, let it become leather hard so that it's really easy for me to slide off my mold. This may take a class period to do. You can put it in front of a fan to kind of speed up the process. And then you'll be ready for the next part of the tutorial. Make sure your clay scraps go into the recycle bin, and make sure your tools get cleaned and put in their proper home.